First came the Drifter, and then came Star Drifter, and now to complete the Drifter Trilogy, the Adventurer. Wait a minute, where's my Drifter? Oh, here it is. A fantasy adventure game, Dungeons and Drifters by Ken Kennedy. I'm going to dive right into this game. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the rules and the mechanics and the methods. They're all basically the same, reskinned. The Drifter was the OG original gangsta exploration game in the Wild West. Then we explored a little bit of outer space. I think I only played a little bit of this. I need to get back to this. Maybe I have more time. But now we're going to do a little bit of fantasy adventure. And so we will at least walk our way through spend a couple of minutes on the mechanics. This game, if you go to the usual places, you can download a copy of it for a couple of bucks, reasonably cheap. You can also, I think he has these for free over there on the vault or the one bookshelf stuff. Look at this great hex map. You can barely see the hexes right now, but they're on there and they're numbered. Of course, they have to be. The heads up displays you're going to need. You're going to want a couple of copies of the bad guy. These are the wound levels you see, and then this dead image. I love this. This reminds me. It's going to feel like we're playing the old Dragon's Lair game. You can download but bear in mind the map originally comes in 8.5 by 11, but you can barely read the hex numbers. You can't quite see them very well. I think you can download a color copy. I almost colored in the forest hexes just to make it a little more visible on camera and give it a little bit more of that Barbarian Kings feel to it. Maybe get some watercolors, right? Those cheap Crayola watercolors. You can make this so beautiful, or just print it up. But I didn't. Here's they got a little standees for you, showing where the good guys and the bad guys are of different types, and then showing where the cities and the adventure points that you find. So as we go through the adventure, we may find some dungeon entrances, and we mark those with exactly where they're at on the map. So those are really what you need. And of course, you need your adventurer sheet. Your adventurer has basically 5 hit points. We're going to start off with a physicality of 4. In this game, so if you recall correctly, whether or not you recall doesn't really make a difference. In the cowboy game, you had to worry about what suit of cards you were. There are 4 different kind of levels of challenge that you might encounter. And so this is the cheat sheet for that, right? And so you either have no bounty, and as your bounty goes up, more and more guys are going to come after you, and you're going to have a different suite of encounters that you might encounter. A huge upgrade in the art, by the way. If we just compare this, now I like this. I mean, very abstract. See, here's desert, here's mountains, here's green, pale green for the grasslands and whatnot. But now look at this. I mean, this is hand drawn. Really huge step up in the map. Really evocative of that. We're going to Rivendell, baby. All right, a little off track. So instead of bounty in this game, we're doing a little thing called aura farming. So your aura shield tells you, I don't really know how to explain it, but if bad things happen to you, it goes up. And maybe if you get more powerful, bad things go down. Now, it is a fantasy game, so you have hero points that allow you to do a reroll. You can only have 3 of those at any one time. We're going to roll a die to find out how smart we are. And you will be leveling up through the course of the game. Every 15 experience points, you go up a level, you gain some new skills, maybe some additional health, and of course, we're trying to find 500 gold. If we can find 500 gold, we win the game. There are encounters in here that if you just do them, you'll win the game. Recall that in the Drifter, we won the game one time because we found a pretty little girl out on the prairie, and she was looking for a husband, and so our bank robber went straight, joined the farm, and raised a pack of little gunslingers, I guess you could say. What else can I tell you about the game before we dive in? It's got some nice, just off the shelf art. Just kind of punch it up a little bit. Frankly, no shade. Star Drifter, a little light in the art department. Ken Kennedy wrote this, and he sprung for a lot of the just simple line art, just something to give it a little bit more visual flair. There's a really fun piece of artwork in here that's got a Displacer kitty, and it occurs to me maybe the reason Displacer beasts are there. It is. There she is. Isn't that great? Maybe the reason Displacer beasts are so mad is that Every time you go to pet them, like I would go to pet, oh no, it's over here. So you can't really pet a displacer beast because you never really know where it is. Maybe that's why they're so angry. But I mean, that's a you problem, this displacer kitty. All right, so with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at what we have to do to get started. The first question, of course, is going to be, what is your starting intellect? And to determine that, we are going to roll a simple D4. And I'm just looking it up here real quick. I think it's, the D4. So I got one of those here, and we're just going to clatter it around. I roll a 4, and I've got the big brain. This is just like any video game. There's really only one option. Now, it gives you the choice. You could be a monk, a ranger, a cleric, a rogue, a wizard. I'm going with a human fighter with a sword. That's just traditional. That's how we do things around here. I have marked out my intellect of 4. That might be going down over the course of the adventure. I don't know. My wound level, as you can see, physicality 4. I start with 2 hero points, and I start with a sword, which gives me an attack value of this. I don't know if you can see it. There's a shield with a single sword through it. It looks a lot like this one. In fact, it's probably the same icon. I have 0 experience points, and as a fighter, I can spend a hero point, and then I make an attack roll, and if I hit, I do +1 damage. So we could talk a little bit about how core resolution works in this game. Just a basic resolution mechanic. Looks a little something like this. When you do combat, you roll a d12. You take the difference in physicality between the two combatants. If I'm attacking and I am stronger than my opponent, it'll be a bonus. If I'm weaker, it'll be a penalty. And then you can see light, medium, heavy wounds, and then insta death. If I roll less than or 1 or less, not only do you miss your opponent, but you take a wound, a light wound. And of course, those stack. So if I take 2 light wounds, I'm a medium wound. If I have a medium wound and I take another one, then I go over here to debilitating wound. The way skills work is pretty simple. You just roll a d10 and you check to see how difficult the skill is. This is your challenge rating, if you will. Likewise with the table, when your combatant has this as their attack skill, you take, I think you get the idea. Now there's 2 more things we need to do before we really are ready to get started. I have to roll to see what my aura is, and we roll a simple d4, and on a result of a 2, I am going to have an aura of just 1. So I probably need a smaller. Let's go with this guy right here. So my aura shield starts right there. I, of course, mount my. Oh, by the way, these markers are my VPs from Skarnhorst. All right, so we'll put it right there. I think that'll work. That's fine. That's where we start. And the aura shield will go up and down throughout the course of the game. We also need to figure out what our starting gold is, and for that, it's very simple. We're going to roll a d20 on this shield right about here. So this one we really definitely want to zoom in on. So on a 1 or a 2, not only do you have no gold, but you do get to start with 2 experience points. It's only 15 to level up, so that ain't too bad. If we roll a nat 20, we're going to get 20 gold pieces to start, and we get to roll again. The E means go to event number 2. Let's find out what we start with. With a result of a 16, our purse is jingling with a total of 5 gold pieces to start. We are only 495 gold pieces away from victory. I guess I should say the last thing we're going to do is figure out what hex we start on, and for that, we roll on a simple little table, and here's where I might start shoving things around. And it might get a little loud here because I want you to see what this table looks like. I don't know how much it really matters. The last couple of things to point out, you can have companions, up to 2 of those. If you find somebody else, you got to have to fire somebody if you want to bring somebody else on. So the last thing we need is a token to represent where our dude is. And I'm going to need to go grab a 15 millimeter figure for that. But I don't know where to put them on the table yet, so I guess the last thing we need to do, this is the rules section for the startup, is, here you go, Ranger, Monk. You start with martial arts, naturally. We're going to roll, motivation. You can figure out what you're motivated by. Just roll a d6. Check it out. Let's see. I am motivated by monarchical. I want to provide tribute to receive favor from a particular leader. Yep. King of Rock, baby. We're going to go find some gold, maybe some rhinestones to dedicate to King Elvis. Normally, what we're going to do is move a hex and roll on the appropriate table. Because our aura shield is moderate, we'll roll on this column here. I'm sorry, it's not a D20, it's a D percentile. Not a problem. If we roll the natural 100, we get a hero point. Yay. If we roll a natural 1, we gain 2 experience points. We go to this event, which is probably a bad thing. Okay. So for the starting hex, just so you guys can keep me honest, what do we got here for actions? We can go see a point of interest. We can go to a city. We can travel to a new hex. That's really about it. And when you do that, you just roll on the adventure table. Ah, yes, here we go. Event 001, the adventure begins. You are a fledgling adventurer. Now far from home, you have set out into this fabled lands in the hopes of accumulating enough wealth in order to fulfill your quest to provide lucre and buy influence at the court of the king. You awaken in the wilderness. Roll a D10 to determine which hex you start on the map board. We'll roll that right over here. And as you can see, I rolled a 3. So we're going to start on 0317. That is going to be this hex. Right. Can we get it where you can see it? 3. Oh, it's going to be way down here. Okay. We are just north of this city. That I don't think it has a name. So we awaken in the woods between the swamp and the city. And I think maybe we want to go get our bearings. I think maybe we want to go to the city right there. Our boy is going to travel to the Grassland City. It says down in the corner of the map that you can't see because my table's a little too small. This city is located in Grasslands. Now, it's not entirely clear to me. I think I need to roll for an encounter before I get to the city, which makes sense to me because you have 2 options. One is a point of interest. You can, in any hex, which is where we are now, you can travel to an adjacent hex. But if you are in a hex with a city, then you can use a separate city table. But I'm not in the city yet. That means I have to roll percentile on the chart. And I'll show you what it looks like, probably the first few times. But after you've seen it, it's just a string of numbers. So we roll our percentile dice. And of course, with a 99, of course, the grassland is important because it will help determine what actually happens. With the result of a 99, remember we have medium aura. We go to event 043. So in our book, event 043 is forage. You are hungry and forage for food. So let's put this on our map. Take a look. Attempt an intellect skill test. So that's table C. Here we bring this back around. So this is our skill table. Table C. See, it says table C right there. Maybe we can get a little better light on there. How about that? Now that looks a little bit better. Okay, so table C. It's going to be I got to roll a D6. Oh wait, attempt to test. So we're at intellect -2, so we're at +2 on our D10 roll. Let's just go ahead and roll that die and see what happens. Where the heck's my die? There we go. Okay, so I roll a D10, trying to pass. So I get a 9, +4 is 13, -2. And because it's the medium deal, I only need a 5 to pass. Okay. Now, if I scored a 5 exactly, I'd get a hero point. Oh, remember, you can use a hero point to reroll. Save it for later. But I did get a pass. So it says, if you pass, then roll a D6. Well, I got one of those right here. With a result of a 6, you and any companions heal 2 wounds. That would have come in handy later. That's it. Okay, so nothing happens. And the day ends. And unlike Barbarian King, we don't have to track food and all kinds of resources. We just foraged. We're good for now. If we get hungry, we'll have to pass another skill test. That'll be fine. Now, because we're in the city. This is great, man. I'm so glad we hit the city right off the bat. We have a separate list of things that we can look at. And we'll zoom in on this chart and take a look. We're in a city. So day 2 of our little campaign here, we roll a D10. And I keep burying my D10s. All right, I got to roll the 10-sider. I get a 0. So you must choose to visit the inn, temple, emporium, tavern, stable, or sorcerer. I don't have no... Oh, emporium is probably selling stuff. Let's be a bit of a holy warrior and visit the emporium. E098. Turning to event 098, and you guys can kind of see some of the fun other things. Oh, there's a stronghold. Maybe we'll get to encounter one of those. A classic of the genre. The emporium, we start by, surprise, rolling another d10. Not a problem. I get a 7. So we go to the, no, not the emporium, the temple. We roll a d, oh, we have to roll a d6 to find out what happens next. So we get there, and on a result of a 3, if your aura shield is double swords, you're confronted by a guard. But that is not the case. So we skip that, and we can pray or approach a priest for healing. If you pray, go to result number 7. If we need to heal, which we don't, so we're just going to go pray. We're starting off right. Okay? Normally it's at the end of the video. Now, our hero, who I haven't named yet, is praying for you. So on a 7, we roll a d6, or a d4 rather, to find out what happens. 3, you exercise your piety. Attempt an intellect skill test. Okay, we're at intelligence -3. So again, remember, we're rolling a d10. I get a 6. Now this one is -3. It's a little harder. +4. So we're at a total +1. I get a 7. That is a success. Your heart feels lifted. Your aura shield goes down 1. So our aura shield was on the tricky. It was on moderate. And now it's going to drop to low. And my boys are just falling all over the place. And that's it. So we can stay in the city and have another adventure. And I think that's probably the best bet. Let's be a city boy. Now, if you're a rogue, there are certain skills that you have that will pay off. And we can just spend a whole episode exploring the adventures in Grasstown. This time we roll a 4. We have a street encounter, 051. And in the case of 051, now this is one of those games that the narrative will come to you. I didn't have to go to the city. I could have just gone off running around trying to find loot out in the wilderness, but I wanted to visit the temple first. I want to get started. I want to get started on the right foot. So in this case, while we are passing through a crowd, we have to roll a d10, pushing our way through country bumpkins. A town crier yells out while ringing his handbell. We roll a d6. No 2 games are the same, guys. On a 3, a tax has been levied. You must pay 2 gold pieces. Oh, if you pay the tax, your aura shield goes down 1. If you cannot pay, you have to leave the city, and your aura shield goes up. All right, so we lost 2 gold. All right, we have gold. If we didn't, this could have been a problem. But we have a couple, so we're gonna pay. All right, so we're boot. Now we're just that much further away from winning the game. And that's the end of the day. We explore, we see the sights, go for a walk in the park, hit on some pretty girls, fail to pick them up because we're an unwashed barbarian from somewhere out in the hinterlands, and we get to do it again. We wake up the next day, and where are we sleeping? I don't know. We rolled a 4 this time, so we have another street encounter, which means go back to 051. And if there's another tax, then obviously this is like some kind of commie town, and I'm out of here. On a result of a 2, while passing through a crowd of people, attempt an intellect skill. Once again, we are rolling on the more than difficult. What do we got here? So we got a total of int -2. Okay, so we're rolling a d10, adding 2, right? Because it's -2 + 4, so we get a 7. And on this chart, a 7 is a pass. So we pass. No asterisk, just a pass. You slip through the crowd. You may choose to visit the inn, the tavern, or the emporium. Well, I've only got 3 gold left. Maybe we should, we got to go to the tavern. Classic. Now that we've said our prayers, we're gonna go drink, pick up some, I've only got 3 gold pieces. I don't know what kind of lady whose affections are for sale we can afford, but it doesn't matter because you don't get to pick from this. You have to roll a d10. I roll a 4, and I get, if you have a companion, I don't. Okay, so if you have a companion, something happens. But since I don't, you skip down. You may pay 1 gold pieces, or you may leave. If you pay a gold piece, you can roll result 5, which means you run into a merchant. Or 6, you can buy a drink. If you buy a drink for 1 gold piece, all right. I'm going to pay the gold because I rolled a 4. And then I'm going to talk with the barkeep. Yeah, that's the way to do it, right, guys? I'm not doing anything unusual here. So here, this is interesting. That bear in mind, there's 10 possibilities, but it's a nice little mini game built into this. The flow chart says you might be able to get to here, and sometimes this will tell you go to here, but we're just going to go straight to it. So we pay the gold, and let me just, before I forget, I'm going to make that a 2. Okay. And then you talk with the barkeep, attempt an intellect skill test at -2. So again, we're at +2. I get an 8, which is a pass reasonably well. And you can ask for a room or ask for information. We want information. So we go to E138. Hey, I don't suppose you know where there's any dragons that need slaying, do you? We're going to check the rumor table. This feels awfully familiar. Let me roll it where you can see it. I get a 4, which also... Am I rolling a lot of 4s here today? It feels like I'm rolling a lot of 4s. You learn about a hidden portal. All right, now this is where things get really fun and really different. Roll a d6 to determine the location of the hidden portal. I roll a 4, so to the south. Then roll d6 +2. And I roll another 4. That's the 3rd in a row. And okay, don't question it. Just happy November, whatever day it is when I actually do this. Okay, so 6 hexes to the south, which I don't think I'm on the edge of the board. We're gonna have to check the rules on that one because the edge of the map is only 2 hexes away. So the rules will tell you about points of interest. It says this is any relevant information. An event will specify the information, the hexes, when you are in the hex with a known point of interest. Okay. Well, I don't know what to do here. I think we're just going to stop on the 2. I think we'll just put it 2 south. So the way this works, bear in mind, you can have up to 5 points of interest. And so I have some additional markers. Remember I showed you the ones that you can cut out? Right? And so I have a 1 here. And this point of interest, it's upside down, but not for long. So due south, just a couple of days journey, couple of random encounters away, is this point of interest. And the rumor tells you what that point of interest is. And that's what this line is on your character sheet. See right here, point of interest. So our point of interest number 1, according to the rumor table, is E055. Well, the hex number is 320. 320. And the event is E055. Let me just double check. Hex number. And I don't know what that is. It just says, oh, it's a portal. There is a portal. And so if we can get there, we can go through the portal and something fun will happen. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Thanks, barkeep. But did that cost us any money? I don't think so. We just chatted them up. We spent the 1 gold, and now we're off on an adventure. And we go into the swamp, and we roll the percentile dice to find out what's going on. Now, I should point out, there's only 5 slots on your character sheet for points of interest. So if you have 5 on the table already, because it could very well have appeared way up here. All right, we could have a rumor that says go to this hex and a thing happens. If you have all of your rumors, all of your points of interest filled out, and you get a 6th one, you have to pick one to eliminate. You can't do everything. As I say to the kids on a regular basis, you can do anything, you just can't do everything. I think I rolled a 97, which sounds super fun. And because I am on the really chill, super chill aura, that means I'm going to go to, and I know it's blurry, it won't be for long, E116. Oh, yeah. And this is, bear in mind, this is in the swamp. We haven't reached the portal yet. So as I pass through the swamp, E116 is ruins. You see large stone in the. What is it? Here, I'll show you. You see large stone ruins in the distance. You can approach the ruins or ignore them. Heck yeah, we're going to approach them. So we got to turn to event 213. Now, bear in mind that the nature of these things is that there's lots of different ways to get to. Just settle down there, point of interest. To event 213. This is just one of them. If you avoid the ruins, then roll a d6, and on a 1, 2, or 3, you have to roll for a different event. But of course, I'm not going to bypass ruins. They might have forgotten something in there. I read my C.S. Lewis. You go into ruins, you're likely to find a secret door. Maybe Santa gives you some free prizes. So 213, you explore some large stone ruins, and we roll a d10. And on a result of not a 4, finally, thank you for that. On a result of a 2, we go to event 221. Well, that sounds pretty close. Event 221. Oh, maybe this is a long one. Oh, it's a well. Well. You come upon a well, which requires a roll of a d6, and we get a 6. There is a corpse at the bottom. You can climb to the bottom or leave. Well, of course, I'm going to climb to the bottom. If you climb, attempt a physicality test. All right, this is a moderate test at -2. I'm perfectly healthy, no penalties. So that means it's just a +2 to my roll. Wait, why did I roll a d5? Maybe I wanted that. So on my test, I get a 12 to pass that test. And as you can see, I passed. Which means a specter appears and asks for your help in seeking justice. Heck yeah, we're going to seek justice for this guy. Justice is my middle name. In fact, I'm going to put that down. Maybe it's even my first name. I don't know. My name is John Justice Jingleheimer Schmidt, or something like that. I guess she's a fighter. And I am doing this for the King in Purple. This does necessitate turning to event 224. And just to keep myself honest, I'll show you what that means. Ghost! Oh, somebody get Zach Baggins. I've been watching too much Red Letter Media. Get Zach Baggins on the line. You agree to help the apparition seek justice. Now, I found him in the ruins, but I might have found him at the portal. I might have found him, in a graveyard in town. Who knows? That's what I'm talking about. There's lots of different ways to get to the ghost. I need to roll a d4. So we'll start with that. And I get a 3. And it says, you will find the ghost's murderer in a tower. Roll a d6 to determine the direction of the tower. Then roll d6 to determine the number of hexes away. All right, so the direction is in a tower to the northeast. And I have to go 1 hex. Wow, that's pretty good. All right. So that is location number 2. And we put that 1 hex. Boy, this is really crowded, right? Northeast. All right, so now I have another choice to make, but I got to write this down. The tower is in hex number 419. And it is in, and if I make it there alive, then I will go to Revenge E037. We set off, and fortunately we're in the woods now. We can leave that nasty old swamp behind. And we go to the tower, but I need to roll for my encounter first. Remember, so my choice, the day dawns and I go 1, but then I have to roll for the encounter. My aura is still really low. So the 46 result means go to event 013. All the way at the beginning. And event 013 is a knight approaches. How about that? See, a knight approaches. Roll a d10. Okay, I hope he's a good guy. On a 6, you talk to him. Attempt an intellect skill. At -3, all right, that's a +1 for me. I get a 4, and that's gonna be a fail. I don't like that. I'm gonna spend a hero point. I'm gonna go down to 1. I'm gonna re-roll. I get a 9. It becomes a 10. I pass with flying colors, and that means I go to E. Wait. Your aura shield reverse with the knight. Yes. Okay. So I passed, and now I go to event E138. Oh, I wonder. Oh. Okay. Maybe the knight will help me gain revenge on that will put the old ghost's bones to rest. But no, he says maybe I'll give you a rumor. E138. I'm utterly fascinated by the process of designing a game like that. And I get a 4. Surprise! A hidden portal. Wouldn't you know it? So the same rules apply. I'm going to roll twice. The black die is going to be the first result. I get a 2, then a 3. So that means to the northeast, E055. Now, why do I have the same event listed twice? I think you can guess by now. So this is event 2 to the northeast. Man, there's a lot going on down here in the southeast corner of the map. That's it for the day. And I don't know why I'm recording this. I guess I record the hex number because if a sudden wind blows or, there's an emergency and I have to rush away, that, I can rebuild my map from scratch. Now, I definitely want to go to this tower first. I'm here. I'm going to explore. That's E037. And then we can choose which of these portals is the one we want to go to first. But because we start the day in this hex, I just do the thing instead of rolling for a random encounter. I arrive at a tower to avenge the ghost. Okay, first of all, I get D4 experience points. And then I roll a D10 to find out what happens. So let's do both of those. And I don't have any experience yet, so this is kind of fun. I should probably start looking. I might have bypassed a few experience points there. All right, well, I only get 2 experience points, but I'll take them. I'm not complaining. So I'm at a total of 2. Then, with the result of a 7, you confront the accused. Oh, this is not a ruined tower. It's just a tower. I say, hey, did you throw little Timmy down a well? And so that means I have to pass an intellect skill test. With the 1 sword, it's going to be a little tricky. It's not going to be easy. We're at -3, which means I'm only at +1. So I need to roll a 5 or better on this one, right? Because I'm using this column instead. I get an 8, which is a pass. So I confront him, I beat him, and she gives it's a girl. Oh, it's mom threw Timmy down the well for the insurance money. She gives a sobbing confession. Go to E205. All right, maybe I shouldn't have been too hasty. E205. She says, the ghost materializes before you. Oh, okay. So she confesses, I'm sorry, I killed my baby and threw it down a well. Well, the baby appears, and it doesn't slime me. Instead, I get D4 experience points, and I got to roll on this little chart right here. So we'll roll for the experience points first. I get 1 experience point, and then we roll to find out what happens next. On a 3, the ghost thanks you and leads you to their corpse. And that means we get a treasure. So if I roll a 4, this is probably a better treasure. But again, I don't have a whole lot of cash, man. I'm down to 2 gold pieces. I had to get out of town before I got thrown in debtor's prison. So we roll, we get a 19. I love it. And on the single, do I love it? Do I love it? On the single sword, I have to go to event 002. Let me record that 3rd experience point. I mean, remember, I'm trying to get 500 gold pieces. So the fact that I rolled E002, I have no idea what that means. It says, a boon. I don't know, is it a baboon? What do we got here? So we roll a D10. We'll zoom in. Oh, look at that visual flare. So as usual, we're going to roll a D10. We get a 1. It's a useless trinket. But if your aura shield is really low, which mine is, okay, I get 2 more experience points. We're now up to 5, 10 more, and we level up. We get a new skill. But because we're a Holy Avenger with a really low aura, we go E274. Maybe this is the real treasure. Maybe we made a friend along the way. And with the result of E274, we wind up with Spirit Riders. You're being pursued by an elite group of infernal riders. All right. Well, that's just dandy. To determine their starting hex, roll a d4. And I know what this means. In Drifter, I mean, I can guess. I need to read it. But in Drifter, that means you're being hunted by people. With the result of a 1, they're going to start way up in 0-0. Now, I do have a token for these guys. We're going to use the... Did I already use it? I did. I'm going to use the Death's Head right here. So at 0-0, they're going to start way up. I probably need to zoom out a little bit. So 0-0 is way up in this corner of the map. And now I do have to remember some things. Because every turn that passes, they're going to move 1 hex closer to me. And if they ever touch me, then I die. So we now have a shot clock. We got a play clock. We got to hustle. We got to move because time is no longer on our side. It says the Spirit Riders remain in play for the rest of the game. They move 1 hex before you choose any action. If at any point they share a hex with you before you choose the action, you lose the game. There's only 1 on the map. If you encounter this event, they move 2 hexes closer to you. Thanks for the reward there, guys. Okay, so no money. We're just not doing great. I'm wondering if I want to go to the portal now. Yeah, we do. We're going to go here. Boop. And because we laid the ghost of the... I don't know, man. Like, this is where, like, the journaling solo RPG stuff comes into play, because you could say the woman who confessed to us was a witch who cursed us for having caught her out in her murderous ways. Be that as it may, at least our aura doesn't go up anymore. Like I said, we're at 5 experience points. And we get a 23... on the low aura means we go to event 242. And event 242 is, let's see. We're going to do the temple. There's a temple. Oh my. So the portal maybe is in the temple. You see a temple in the distance. You can approach the temple or avoid it. Well, we're going to approach it. We're going to take the experience point. We're going to go to event 148. That brings us to 6 XP. I think I want to play at least until we get to level 2, because then I can show you what that does. And I forgot to move these guys. So they move, and then we move. We're still going to the temple. E148 is... I think this would be a great game to play with your kids. Let them choose. You enter a large stone temple. I wonder if there's any pilots here. Roll a d10. On a 3, it is vacant. But you find an entrance to a tomb. Yeah, we're going in the tomb. Come on. Why wouldn't you? E011. Oh, there's some adventure. No, thank you. Dude, my job title is adventurer. You enter a dark, dank tomb. And we roll a d10. And we get a 2. And we go to event 007. So there's, if you look at the tomb, some of these get pretty complicated. This is page 2. So we rolled a 2, we go to an event, but it could have been nothing but smashed coffins and 2 experience points laying in the dust. Event number 7 is a trap. Attempt a physicality test. This is a hard one. I get a 2, which means I'm burning another hero point. I get a 9. This is with a -3 plus 4. I get a 9, which is successful. Flying colors. If you pass, you maneuver the trap. I think we outmaneuver the trap. So we roll a d6 to find out what happens next. At the bottom of the tomb, I roll a 2, and it says, there is a corpse. Roll on the bottom treasure table. So again, we roll, we get a 3, and the corpse has a grand total of, see the little open shield? It's got 0 gold pieces, but I get a hero point. Well, that's good, because I spent 1, so that was a huge waste of time. But it does mean that our Spirit Riders get 1 hex closer to us. We got about 20 turns left. And that means we land on the portal. And checking my character sheet over here. See, 1 hero point, 4 unhurt. I am going to check out Event 055. And as you might expect, Event 055 is an entrance, which I have to roll a d6 to discover what kind. And I get a 4. What are the odds? 1 in 6, always. You enter a dungeon. Thank you. Not a tomb, not an empty temple, a dungeon. E164. This really is Dungeons and Drifters. E164. Now, this whole thing is one single event, so those guys aren't going to move until we complete E164. It's not every die roll. It's just every day. Just every morning you wake up and you feel a little more unsettled. We gain D4 experience points right out of the gate. Well, I mean, yeah, we're outside the gate, and I get 1 more experience point, taking me to 7. God, what is with you, bro? Killing me. And then we roll a D10 to find out what kind of dungeon. On a result of a 9, it's E091. And I know I'm not worried about the view at this point. I'm just trying to, just enough. And there's a lot of flipping, so I want to get to it. You're in a network of underground caverns and tunnels. Experience points. 4. There you go. Bingo, bango, bongo. Just like that, we are up to 11 experience points. Almost ready to level, and then we take a week off. Roll a d10. Yeah, of course we roll a d10. Gotcha. On a 5, you find an exit. You return back to the surface into an adjacent hex. Oh, okay. That's it. On a result of a 2, we appear to the northeast. So we come up. Oh, it's connected. Now, I'm going to remove this because we're done. It is connected to the tower where we confronted the old biddy. We moved 1 hex closer without triggering these guys, but it's the next day, so they move into the mountains. They're spirit riders. They can walk uphill. We move to here. We roll for our percentile encounter, and on an 05, we encounter E085, which is pretty close to the page we're on right now. E085 is Stronghold. You see a stronghold in the distance. We need to roll for that castle type. Should you approach the castle, gain 1 experience point. Yeah, we experienced that. That takes us to 12. And then we go to event 19. Oh, I hope it's not a wizard's tower. You have come upon a large stronghold. And so here we go. We are on as you can see, the little trees there. We're in a forest hex. That determines what kind of stronghold. Kind of. Roll a d4. In forest or grassland. Well, we're in a forest. So I roll a 2, and I go to E186. And if you don't believe me that I go to E186, you should buy a copy yourself. Ken Kennedy's a good guy. You have come upon a fortified keep. If you sneak past or sneak inside. Yeah, we're sneaking inside. And of course we are. On our way to the portal here, we want to experience as everything that life in Dungeons and Drifters has to offer. If you try to sneak, then you have to pass a physicality test. And again, if we were a rogue, we'd probably be a lot better at this. This is a -2, and I'm going to burn a hero point, taking me down to nothing, because I'm actually at +2. That's a 4, and I have to succeed on a difficult test. So I get a 4. +2 is a 6. And on this guy, ooh, look, I just passed. So I sneaked inside the stronghold. And because I passed, pass, roll a d4. Okay, so we passed, I roll a 4. There's the 4 I've been looking for. I sneak into the stronghold, and with a result of a 4, I get to roll on, so here it is, on a result of a 4, roll on treasure table D, the single sword. That's the middle guy. So I roll a d20. I broke in and I stole. This is probably a bandit's keep. And with the result of a 3, I get 3 gold pieces, but I also get a hero point. So that's okay. I've been burning those, and I'm back up to my original starting gold. Hey, Mom, I've made $0 so far, but I made some friends. I remember I didn't travel here, but now when I travel here, dun 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 dun, and then I roll for my daily encounter. On a 67, I'm glad my aura is still pretty low. E083. I wonder what's going on in the north. As I wander about blundering, you come upon a cairn. There are purposely placed stones here of various sizes. Roll a d10 to discover what's going on. Get rid of that one, make it a little easier to tell what we rolled. And on a, we'll call that an 8. It is a tribute to a dark deity. If your aura shield is really bad, choose one. If it's not, roll, oh boy, on a 1, 2, or 3, your aura shield goes up. There's nothing I can do about this circle of standing stones, but it might curse me. On a 2, it does. My aura shield goes up to medium. I don't like it. But when the next day starts, my ghost riders get a little closer, and now I can go through another portal. E055. Entrance, roll a d6, find out what it is. And on a 6, it's a small tomb. That's what I'm talking about. See my small tomb? So the portal, it's not like a magic portal, it's just a passage into something. So it's a small tomb. I get the best treasure. Well, no, it's not the best treasure. The 3 swords is the best treasure. So we're going to roll a d20. I get an 8, and we're on the 2 swords. Result of an 8 means we found 11 gold pieces here in the tomb. We're up to 16, and I love it. So now the question is, do we wander back to town? I have no more points of interest to explore. So I have to choose between going back to town, talking to that barkeep and saying, hey, buddy, you got any other rumors for me? Or just kind of racing to stay down here in the corner. So there, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go down to here. Well, first of all, they're going to pursue me. And then we go to there. And, is there any experience points? No, there's no experience points for that. 46. And again, remember, instead of E010, I'm going to be doing E013 because my aura is a little bit worse. I'm carrying a bit of a curse. And now I have a knight. Maybe the same knight we encountered before. You decide for yourself. You talk to him. Attempt an intellect skill test. I get a 1. I'm going to use my hero point. Yeah, I burn those. We're going to call that a 7, which means I passed, which means we go back to E138. And we have, I believe, another rumor. Yes, we roll a D12. Oh, I might have rolled the wrong die last time. D12 for the rumor table. You learn about some mysterious ruins. Mysterious ruins. Roll a D6 for the direction, and then a D4 for the distance. Okay. 2 and a 6 means 2 hexes away to the northwest. Oh, this video's running a little long. Ghost Riders move. I move 1 hex. I roll for the next encounter. 88 results in E014. E014, massive battle. A massive battle is taking place here between countless soldiers. You get an experience point just for watching. You are forced to move to an adjacent hex. Roll a d6 to determine which hex you move to. Well, I have a d6 here. Number 3. And roll a d6. Oh, and on a 1 or a 2, you have to roll for another event. All right, so I do have another event. Now, I rolled a 3 that first time, so I have to move to the southeast. So I have to go back to where I came from. And because I rolled a 2, I have to roll for another event in this same hex where we had that ruin. But the riders don't move. These guys are going to stay. I think it was right there. Got to be careful. I should have colored those guys so they could use my death's head to make it a little more obvious that they were on their way. Maybe I'll do that before the next. Maybe color this like blue and that guy red. But I didn't know Ghost Riders were going to be hunting me down. Be that as it may, I rolled a 75, which is an E026. Maybe those knights were gearing up for that battle. E026, treacherous weather. What kind of hex are we on? We're on a forest. If you're on a forest, swamp, or grassland, go to E039. Intense storm, an unnatural vortex of wind and rain forms in the area. This might be where those standing stones were, too. Maybe it's a cursed... Well, we roll a d6 and we get a 4, which means if you're on a Swamp Hex, do a different one. It's a tornado. Okay. Physicality test. We're only at -1, but I don't have any hero points left. So 6 minus 1 gives me a 5, and that's going to be a fail on this table, and that means I get 1 hero point, but I still fail. And remove a point of interest and an item from your character sheet. Your character takes a light wound. Okay, so now my physicality is still 4. The light wound is not a big deal. But this goes away. I'm lost. I don't know how to get to the thing, so we just remove it. Did we at least get Did we at least get experience point out of that? Remove a point? No, that's it. All right. Well, that sucks. All right. Well, I guess we head back to town anyway. It's been a couple of days. Oh, these guys come back. We roll for a 45. There are so many different encounters in this game. E085. And how funny would it be if I keep getting the same one? Oh, another stronghold. Oh, so the battle there was at the foot of a stronghold. We're going to approach the stronghold, giving me 14 experience points. And then we're going to turn to E019. So maybe it's a different kind of stronghold. If you are in a forest hex, roll a d4. I can do that. I roll a 3. So this is different this time. Remember last time? Oh, no, it's not. E203. I go to the same table. It might be different. E023. Encounter. Roll a d10. All right. I roll an 8. And that means we have an outlaw. So this is our new table that we're looking at. Way up here, you can barely see it. Make an intellect test. And if we pass, we roll a d6. Okay, so this 8 is the result that we're looking at. So our intellect test is a bad failure. So we failed. It's an ambush. Unless we want to burn our hero point, which I kind of think we do. This time it's +1, but it's an easier one. 5. So we pass. We get a hero point back because we just passed. And this time, since we passed, we roll a d6. We meet some outlaws, and we trusted to the whims of fate, and we got another event, E110, which is converse. We're going to talk to these guys. We roll a d10 to find out, and on a 10, they are gravely injured and fall over dead. Oh, so we run into some bandits, the survivors of the battle that we just had, and that means we get to loot the bodies. Yeah, boy. So we loot the bodies. We get a result of a 1. And on a result of a 1, on the simple treasure here, we get no gold pieces. Okay. But we do gain 2 experience points, which puts us at 16. And we're going to pause the video here. So this is part 1. I know we're running really long here, but I did make it to 2nd level. No money, but at least I got the experience. And that means I am now a 1st level adventurer. See, I'm a veteran. I 1st level in the Dungeons and Dragons parlance. Whenever you roll for initiative, add +1 to your score. We still have the mighty blows, but we didn't fight anybody yet. We could have. If we had walked into that ambush, if we hadn't been lucky enough to spend a hero point and just found it instead of a bandit ambush, it was the survivors of the big battle. That it was actually probably, they didn't fall over dead. They were probably already dead. And we're able to get just enough stuff off their bodies. So that's where we'll leave it. We are still 3 days away, and the Spirit Riders are still chasing after us. We are 3 days away from the city. There's the Spirit Riders. They're going to be right here when we get to the city. And every day we spend in the city, they're going to get a little bit closer. I don't know how good this run is going to be, but we'll find out next time. Till then, I'm praying for you.